Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Picadian.
Jared from Brandon One, the pickups.
Hey, everybody, this is Todd Novak. Welcome to our show. We're massively happy that you are listening to the Guitar Knobs podcast. Wherever you are, we hope you have time to just kick it with us and listen to some good guitar talk, and hope we intrigue you. Hope we learn something. I hope I learned something today.
That's right.
Maybe we should change the name of the podcast to Guitar Talk.
No,
that's right.
That's already taken.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start one.
Yeah. So listen, let's introduce our friend, and then we'll tell people what we like to do on this show. Who's friend? Who are you?
My name is Marko. I am from TourGear Designs.
TourGear Designs. And is that a hard, like, that's Vukovic, right?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. I nailed it. Look at that, Tony.
I love
Nicely done.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So TourGear Designs. Ooh, are you intrigued? Is your intrigue peaked?
I am.
We are really excited to have Marko on the phone tonight. We'll get into why in a little bit. While you're waiting, if you want to go check out what he does to get a head start, Marko, where can people find your stuff?
Our website is tourgeardesigns.com. You can also find us on all social medias with the exact same name. We focus on Instagram the most, but you can also find us on Facebook. We do have one video up on YouTube, which is awesome. But that's all we have right now.
Okay. So Marko contacted us, and he's got a game changer, people. That's all I'm saying. That I've said that as many times as I could to as many people as will listen.
Absolutely.
I'm thrilled about this product. So
oh my.
We're gonna dig into it deeply very soon
With a shovel.
Yes, and we're gonna connect things. That's about as bland as I can make that.
With mail.
Right.
Never mind.
We're gonna plug right in and just jack this whole thing up.
Yep.
So stupid.
A quarter inch of it.
Guys, what do we do on the show, Tony?
Well, we like to talk about gear. We like to talk to the makers of gear, specifically gear that is in the boutique industry of music. Right. So that would be things like guitars and amps and pedals. We do a few pedals. Accessories. And occasionally we do these things called 101s, where we learn a little more about stuff we should have learned in kindergarten.
That's my favorite.
That's correct.
Yep.
Tonight, we've got somebody who's in the, I guess you could say, accessory realm of things. But
I'd put it in accessories, yeah.
Crucial accessory. This is not a frivolous thing. We live and die by this on the stage, my friends. So,
yep.
Anyways, let's get to some announcements really quick. We want to thank Rode Mics for providing the Rodecaster Pro and the Procaster mic. The Rodecaster Pro, of course, being our beautiful console that's recording all these amazing words that we're saying.
The mothership, if you will.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
And if you are interested in creating your own podcast, or just want to, maybe you're a voiceover person, or you can record your own music on this thing, if you wanted to. It's fantastic. So check out Rode Mics and learn all about this. This is a extremely well-made piece of machinery, and I'm very, very thrilled that they have been so kind to us. So thank you.
Hey, so if I wanted to start a podcast called Guitar Talk, would this be a good piece of equipment to have?
It would, and it would. And if you want to do that, hey, the more the merrier, everybody. We also have one other thing I wanted to call out here. We have so many awesome patrons on Patreon.com. In fact, we got another grand poobah, everybody. Someone stepped up.
It's a secret.
Someone went from executive and said, "You know what? I'm going to go to the penthouse suite, y'all."
Ooh.
Yes. So we're very excited about that. And so we'll just, Tony, what's their name real quick?
I'm not saying because
No,
that's
just say it. I set you up.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know right now. Don't say it, Tony.
Okay. All right. We'll wait till the very end.
I'm going to listen to Jared because
Okay.
Scared Marko
he's
away.
always nice to me.
All right. So here's just something really quick. Now I will give you a hint. What Marko does, and by this time, a lot of people maybe already know, but what Marko does is help with how these pedals play together. These pedals being Richard Kendall, who's one of our executive producers. He sent us his 4 on the floor. And I'm telling you, like, this guy should write reviews for like movies and wine and stuff like that. It's fantastic.
Absolutely.
So number 1, we're gonna go a little deep on this real quick. I think we can take a little bit of time. It's gonna be good, I promise. All right, number 1, the MXR M173 Classic 108 Fuzz. The MXR Classic 108 Fuzz is basically the guts of a BC 108 Fuzz face, housed in a more pedal-friendly enclosure with the added benefit of a buffer switch. With the buffer disengaged, this is a great late 60s, early 70s silicone fuzz face. Roll the volume down on your guitar and the sparkly cleans are gorgeous. Roll the volume back up and it roars like any fuzz face should. Engage the buffer and the fuzz brightens up beautifully. I leave the buffer on about half the time depending on the guitar I'm using. The buffer also compels your wah pedal to be on its best behavior when placed before the fuzz effect in the effects chain. Savvy. That's some pretty good writing right there, everybody.
You just like the word savvy.
I do. Savvy. And then the Boss SD2 Dual Overdrive. This pedal was released in 1993, which was also the year I purchased mine. For whatever reason, Boss discontinued this little golden gem in 1998. The SD2 features independent circuits to produce 2 totally different overdrive effects. It was the impetus for the JHS Boss Angry Driver. The SD2 was one of the first pedals which I purchased as a young player. I own a few different Boss overdrives, and to me, out of all of the Boss overdrives, this particular overdrive sounds the best. I'm pretty sure session great Tom Vukovic is a fan of the SD2. That's got to mean something. No? All right. I like how he winds everyone up. Everyone has like this thing at the end. All right. The Super Trem 2 stereo tremolo auto panner. To me, overdrive and tremolo are the meat and potatoes of any good pedal board, making the tremolo the comfort food in my sonic stew. Hey, if anybody needs a rider out there, you should call our friend up here. My deep modulating interest in tremolo was initially ignited after I might hire this guy, to be honest. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, it's actually really good.
Yes. I use riders all day long. It's fantastic. My deep modulating interest in tremolo was initially ignited after being taken by the swampy sounds of Bob Dylan's Oh Mercy record in the late 80s. Quick, go listen now, he says. There are a lot of great trem pedals out there. Some of the harmonic trem circuits are particularly satisfying. But the Super Trem 2 is the only trem I know that splits the signal into stereo, Jared, with 2 completely separate circuits. Swirly.
Awesome.
All right. And last, this one I had to, you'll have to forgive me, Richard, but it was, we do have a show to do, so I had to pare this one down a little bit. So this is the Electro Harmonix Deluxe Memory Man 550 TT. The pedal is much noisier than any other analog delay, but I'm pretty sure it's due to the filtering. It seems to be less dark than some of the other analog delays I've since sampled, which I appreciate. And though the delay time maxes out at about a half a second, the 550 TT more than makes up for in additional features. Tap tempo, send and receive jacks, which allow you to sidechain other pedals into the repeats. An octave pedal adds some craziness to the repeats. Those are in parentheses. an expression pedal jack so that you can control subdivisions, feedback, volume, repeats, and modulation. Speaking of modulation, wow, the modulation. Not sure why my digital delays haven't been able to completely recreate this thing yet. I mean, that's pretty fantastic. Well done.
I like it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Very well done. All right. So if anybody needs a good writer, call up Richard Kendall. And
Seriously.
yeah, for real. That's great. All right. Thank you so much, Richard Kendall, for supporting our show and for submitting your 4 on the Floor. It's pretty tasty stuff.
Most excellent.
All right, everybody. Let's get into what's going on in our music world this week. We're going to start off with Tony and then find out what Marko's up to. Tony, go ahead.
All right. Well, let's see. This week, actually, the last couple of weeks, I've been spending a lot more time in my hometown of Youngstown, Ohio. And we're working on my mom's house and doing some painting and cleaning and all that fun stuff. And I've been spending a lot of time with my good friend, Pat Murray, who owns a company called Coop Guitars. And I've been every once in a while hanging out at his shop, taking a look at what he's doing in terms of guitars he's putting together and different things like that. So, yeah, it's kind of fun seeing how, I mean, he's got CNC equipment and things like that, I certainly don't have access to. And it's always fun to see how other people are doing things. So I've just been spending a lot of time over at Coop and, checking out some of the stuff that he's building. So
right on. Very cool. Marko, what's going on in your music world, man?
Aside from all the business stuff, I'm actually working on an album that I wrote with a friend of mine, maybe like 15 years ago. And now we're actually starting to record it because for the last few years, we didn't have the chance. We tried to form a band, but couldn't find the right musicians. So now it's just going to be all studio guys.
Wow.
Cool.
Very cool. And this
Crazy.
is this bluegrass?
Of course. What else is there?
Yeah. That's what the album title should be called. Bluegrass. What else is there? I like it.
Baroque music. Yeah.
No, share what kind of music it is.
It's like, well, I'm very into progressive music, like from rock and metal, but we kind of wanted to make it more melodic, but we're using like a lot of classical and also a lot of melodies back from my home country. So it's like got like a lot of Southern European sounds to it, which is pretty cool for me to do because I've always wanted to do that.
Mm-hmm. And
But
your home country, just for everybody, is?
I'm originally from Serbia.
Okay.
If
Established.
anyone knows where that is, yeah, if anyone knows where that is, that's actually pretty cool because most people think that I'm from Siberia, which is in Russia.
No.
it's definitely warmer in Serbia.
Jared was
Yeah.
going, it's cold there.
No, I wasn't.
Actually, I was talking with some friends last week, and I think a week ago, it was 91% humidity in my hometown.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty warm there.
Yeah. Oof. For everyone who is like thinking about where now you showed me where you're from. You showed me a picture of the island that you're from, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people, that is spectacular. So there, I'm just sharing that with you. do what you will with that. It looks really incredible.
For a vacation, it probably is.
Oh yeah. So anyways,
It's actually very cheap. So, and the food is really good. So I say it's a good time to like go like if you can.
yeah. So you're bringing some of those tunes back from your country. It sounds like that's what you were getting to.
Yeah, it was like originally because I'm actually trained in classical music, and my songwriting partner, she's actually very much into like 80s synth pop. It's a hard thing to pronounce sometimes. But yeah, so she's really into that, and we were writing was very melodic, and then I was showing her old bands like back from the old Yugoslavian bands, and she was really into it. So then we started writing with kind of similar melodies here and there. So The music has a lot of melodic stuff. It's also got a lot of guitar harmonies because I'm really big fan of Boston and early In Flames, which they really use that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So we put that in as well. So right now we're just in the recording process, and for some reason I really want to record everything with a Telecaster.
Oh,
I just think it sounds really good.
You know, you were talking before we started about your earlier band and how it was like you were really into like death metal, right? And I just thought of a great musical project that you could do where you're mashing up that like the sort of synthy sounds with that. You could call it Elopeth. No.
My first band was actually called Lick, which is Kill Backwards, because I was watching like The Shining. I was like, hey, this would be a great name. So I've had some really weird names. I play in a band called Muffin.
Oh man. Well, you can take Elopeth and run with that if we. Anyways,
I should.
All right, Jared, what's going on in your music world, my friend?
Oh, exciting stuff. So a long time ago, a good friend of mine I was in a band with had an SG Epiphone, like a custom. So it had the gold hardware and the 3 pickups, and it had a stop tail, didn't have the Bigsby. It's when I first started doing pickups, and he's like, "Hey, can you change out these pickups?" And I said, "Yeah." And he brings me the guitar, and all the spacing was different. It was all 50 millimeter, and then 53 millimeter at the bridge. And the different spacing is so that the screws are directly under the strings, in case people are wanting to know what I'm talking about. And so when I got it, none of my parts fit any of these parts, because he wanted the original covers back. Because when you have a gold hardware, and we've talked about this numerous times, that when you play it, and the acidity of your hand sweat or hand whatever, it just takes the gold right off eventually. So he wanted the gold on this. So the other day he's like, "Hey, I want to sell this guitar," and I'm like, "Oh, I'll buy it," because I redid the pickups in it when I first started doing pickups. I think it was about 2006, 2007. So I got the guitar for a screaming deal.
Awesome.
And I got to look at my work when I first started doing this, and it was like a time capsule. It was awesome.
What color is the guitar?
It's white.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah, so I have the guitar, but I really only wanted it just because of to get the pickups.
Jeez.
So, and I did, and that's that.
Well, that's fun.
I ended up using the original Epiphone parts, except for the magnets and the windings.
Man.
So it's still pretty much original, but pickups sound better is all.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mighty
Very
cool.
Yep. And my band's awesome. So anyway, that was.
So have you been practicing with your band?
Yep.
Oh boy. Here we go.
You got a minute?
For my week.
How about you, Todd?
Yep. Hey, Tony. Thanks. Well, I got to finally have a little bit of practice time with my drummer, my singer, and my bass player are out of town. And what was really interesting is when it was just me and the drummer, it's the rhythm is it's a little bit starker. So it's a lot starker because you don't have a bass player. So without the bass player kind of like filling in the rhythm, it made us really pay attention to how things are syncing up, like what actually was going on with the drums and the guitar, which is usually, it's mostly people say, "Oh, just pair the drums and the bass up." But it was really cool because there were these elements, and Marko, you mentioned synth pop earlier. Mm-hmm. One of my favorites from that era was Missing Persons. And specifically Terry Bozzio's drumming, he's in the drum pantheon. But not because he did these amazing, outrageous things like he's doing later on in his life or anything. But in these simple synth rock pop songs, he was able to really create special moments within a song. So we found ourselves like, I said, you know what? Can you do something like, give me a little like Terry Bozzio kind of thing right here? Well, I'm not playing that kind of music at all. But what was cool is that it gave it a little bit of edge that I don't typically hear in this kind of music. And so that was really, it was kind of neat, like just like really being able to focus in on the drums, just me and him. From my riffs and the song that I made up, I got to like really focus on the actual drum sounds and like the types of patterns that he was doing, and it was just really cool because I don't normally, I kind of get the chance to do that, but not really without being super disruptive to everybody else's experience. So
nice,
yeah. It's kind of cool. I would actually recommend, like, if you're writing or you're playing music and you get a little bit maybe stuck, or you're feeling like things aren't, like, you're looking for that extra special thing, like, send the bass player and the vocalist home and just like vibe with the drummer, see what happens.
That sounds like a wonderful week.
Yeah. Here's another thing.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor.
All right, 4 on the floor with Marko from TourGear Designs. What are your 4 pedals you must have?
What I must have, my first one would be the Sansamp YYZ. That's the Geddy Lee signature. I moved to Canada like in my teens, and because I'm a bass player as well, I just got into Rush, and I really loved the Geddy's sound. And this one really can also. This one can replicate his sound really well, but you can also add more to it, and you can play around with it. So it's kind of like you are using his gear, but you get to do your own thing, which I find really cool about it. And also, like, recorded with Sansamp before. Like, I've done 3 albums with it, and I've always loved it and what they do.
Awesome.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with the Sansamp stuff. I mean,
No.
For years and years, I used an Sansamp acoustic DI. A bass player used the bass DI, and they're just really well-made, good-sounding products.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have 4 of them, and I use them to hold down the corners of my nautical charts on my large tapes. Stupid. I'm sorry, everybody.
Yes. Yes,
All right.
quite.
What do you have for number 2?
Number 2 would be the Old Blood Noise Haunt.
Ooh, yeah.
This will be the first version, because you have a version 2 out now. But I think when I first saw their videos on YouTube, like, I was like, "Ooh, these guys are doing something cool." Like, I like the visual aspect. I like how they advertise themselves. And then when I got the pedal, I borrowed it from a friend of mine. When I was living in Czech Republic, and I was like, dude, I gotta get one of these. And he just said, well, if you want it, I work for like a distributor, just take this, because I'm waiting for version 2. So I got that, and I love older stuff, but this is the first one from Old Blood that I ever had. So kind of like, it was the first, like, they just started, well, becoming popular, and then I was like, I saw that, and I saw their Black Fountain video, which I thought was really cool. But the Haunt, it's like really on bass and guitar, like, it sounds gnarly. So I love what it does. It has a really good sound.
Now, what kind of bass are you playing, by the way?
I have a Kramer Focus 7000. I'm not sure. They were mostly made. They were first made in the States. Mm-hmm. Then later on, they got. Production was moved to Japan, I believe, but I have this one, which was made back in the States before they moved production in overseas, and it's got really cool pickups. It's got some gnarly switches, which I can't really explain, but it just sounds really cool. I did some small mods, like I changed the bone nut to a graphite, and I changed the frets on it as well, just because I thought that they were too high for me. So I made them. kind of file them down a little bit just because I hit really hard. So like if the frets are too high up and the way how I play, like it buzzes really badly. So I had to really file it down. It almost sounds fretless, but it's not.
Wow.
Cool.
Interesting. Mighty cool. All right. What do you have for number 3?
Number 3 would be the Electro Harmonix Big Muff Pi, the like Russian version with the giant and black box. But this one I selected because of the way how it sounds on the guitar. Like on the bass, it still sounds good, but when I play this with my guitar and I play with the Dimebag signature wah, like the sound on it is just amazing. And like I really like it, and the sustain you get out of it is great. And like even though like it's it's only got 3 knobs, but I'm kind of much more of a simple person. So what it does, I really just like what it does, and especially when you crank it through like an any type of orange amp, the sound is brutal, and it's also good for like rock, pop, metal. Like you can put it to any genre really, which I really like as well. So it can jump around no matter what type of music you play.
Right. Now there are thousands of fuzz pedals in the world. What made you go for this one?
I first saw this when I was hanging around my Italian friend, and he actually had one of these, and but he was mainly playing like electronic music, and that was the only like fuzz pedal that he was using. I was like, why that one? And then he showed me how it actually works, because I played a few fuzzes before, but then I was like really intrigued. I'm like, why is this guy who doesn't play rock music, but this is the only fuzz one he uses? And I was trying it out. I'm like, okay, I can see. It's a very diverse pedal as well, because as I said, it can fit to any specific genre, and there's something about it, like it's not too much in your face, like it's also clear at the same time. So because when I try some fuzz pedals on the bass, I don't like it because it just sounds too muddy, and you might as well get the DoD meat box because it just sounds big. But this one, it's like it still has an edge to it, but it's clean at the same time. So I like how it sounds. So it's not too dirty, but it's not too clean at the same time. It's like a nice mix.
Cool. That's solid thinking, man. How about number 4?
This is actually the first pedal that I ever bought. It's the Boss Metal Zone.
All right, that might be the first Metal Zone that we've got.
I think so.
I love that one. Like I'm really big into the Swedish death metal, and everybody talks about the Boss HM2. But what a lot of people don't know is that the most popular one, At the Gate, Slaughter of the Soul, that was actually used. That pedal was used as a boost for the Metal Zone, and that album sounds killer. So, and when I first started playing guitar, and it was more because of At the Gates and In Flames. And when I found out that they were using the Metal Zone more for their sound, I got it, and it's just one that I've always kept. Like I like how you can dial in a lot of good tones. The one thing about this one is a lot of people don't know how to use it that well, so it kind of gets a bad rep from a lot of people. But most people that I know, they like love it. They actually prefer it more over the HM2 pedal.
Interesting. All right, that's a pretty solid, like, non-jokey thing that you did there. Most of the time, it's usually a jokey thing with that pedal.
Yeah, like I said, because most even retailers that I know, like they say the same thing, that a lot of people don't know how to use that pedal because you gotta play around. But when you actually do figure out how it works, it can give you some really good sounds. And yeah, it is a butt of a lot of jokes. Not as bad as the Boss death metal one, but this one is actually a really solid one, and I'm actually surprised that it gets such not as much credit as it should for a guitar pedal.
Yeah,
and
I don't
pretty much all of the Boss stuff is really good.
Yeah, I mean the Boss stuff is I mean, there's a reason they're boss and why they're still around and why they're massive, and
Yeah.
Good stuff. Cool, man. Well, that's 4 very interesting pedals for, I guess, from a bass perspective, mostly, right?
Very good. Very good.
Mostly.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, before we get into the finding out all the stuff about our special guest tonight, I want to just give a shout out to John Finnell, JONFINTEL, recording engineer, producer, etc. extraordinaire. And I say extraordinaire because he knows how to dial in guitar tone so well. He is located in Columbus, but he travels all over the place. So if you've got a studio or you got a favorite place that you like to record, he's definitely up to help you out. And I think just actually reaching out and just saying, hey, we're trying to dial in our stuff. Do you have any? Can I get a little hint or a little tip-a-roni? John was on a previous episode where he helped us understand as a guitar player what to prepare for and how to go about your business in a recording studio so that you show up well prepared. That was a really awesome episode.
It was very good.
Yeah.
And I'm told that John is an all-around nice guy. Is that true?
He is. He's a super all-around nice guy. That is for sure. And if you want to find out, well, what do you mean he dials in guitar tone? You can go check out my band, the Villaintinos, on Spotify and everything. And I gush at, when I'm listening to it, that arm hair raises up because I'm just like, I can't believe he got that tone on this record. So,
rumor has it he re-recorded all the guitar parts.
Yeah, yes, he did. this is all true. Dang it, Tony! You're giving my secrets away. Anyway, so that's JONFINTEL.com, and he runs out of relayrecording.com. So, and
nice.
That happens to be where our podcast studio is, kind of ish. Currently, that we're not there. We're all remote because we're all stuck in this big mess here. So, that's where we'll be going back to with if everything pans out. Anyways, all right, we are talking to Marko Vukovic, who is the owner proprietor of TourGear Designs. Marko sent me, he sent me an little email. He says, hey, I make this thing. I want you to try it out. We get a lot of stuff that's like, hey, I'd like you to try this thing. And I want to be mindful of the things that essentially that we say, hey, check this thing out, because we want it to be good. We don't want to attach ourselves or just shill things that are, garbage just because we're, making a couple of dollars or getting some, gear or something like that. So it was really important to me that when we tell you about things that we find that are new or that we, stand behind, that it's good. So he sent me this little box of goodies. And I mean, within about 2 seconds of opening it up and looking at it, I immediately wrote him and I said, you have an absolute advocate, man. So, Marko, you make patch cables. Now, I know what everybody's thinking. Patch cables? How sexy can patch cables be?
I think these are pretty sexy.
They actually are. So Marko's gonna tell us all about those right now. But I want to encourage everybody to go to TourGear Designs, find that on the internet anywhere you can, and get a visual of what we're talking about right now. Because I'm telling you, these are really outstanding pieces of equipment here. So, Marko, when did you start this up?
I actually started this up. Well, I originally made a design about 11 years ago. I was on tour, and the guitar player in the band that I was playing with, he had a pedal board, but his pedals were kind of too wide. So one was kind of hanging off one side, and he was saying that he wished that there was a patch cable which was like a little thinner. And because I studied graphic and engineering in just for fun, and I went to school for more graphic design stuff. I was like, I'll try design something, and we actually made it like a little prototype like 11 years ago, and it actually worked. And he was saying that we should do a production run of this. However, this is back in what, like it'd be like in the mid 2000s, and we were both like, how do we even run a company? So I had a little bit of experience. It's because I started like a few small things, but I was like, this is a lot to take in for just like two musicians. So I was like, somebody else is going to think of the same thing, and I was kind of like, I'll focus on like whatever else I was doing. And then a few years later, I see a few companies did start doing them, and I was like, okay, cool, oh, awesome. But some had the cables were actually really thin, and I was like, okay. So I took one on tour, and it ripped, and I was like, this is not good. So I was like, at this point, I ran 3 different businesses on my own, and I was like, you know what? I think I'll show this to my friend again. I'm like, hey, do you remember this? Do you want to try? Just let's see if we can actually make it happen. So we went back to the original design, and I made some small changes that I thought of. And the main thing was to make a really thick, to make the cable, it was like a really thick mold around. So like when it's bent or twisted, it like won't actually damage the wire inside. And then while I was doing this, I thought, why do I want to make one that's a little offset? So then this way you don't have to twist the cables. And that's why we have like the S shape, which I didn't see anybody else do. Mm-hmm. And that one, when a lot of people saw that, they were like, why didn't I do this before? So it was just because I hated twisting cables.
Yeah.
That's really where I came up with the idea. And so my friends and I, we actually incorporated the business last June in Canada. And the cables are actually designed by a company in Serbia. So it was kind of like a little bit of thing of, okay, it's going to be Canadian based, but I'm going to get it made in my home country, just because we try to find manufacturing in Canada, but for some reason it was very difficult. And we tried in the States, but some guys, I don't know why, we just couldn't find anybody who wanted to do it. So I was like, let me try back home, see if I can find somebody, because Serbia has a lot of, has like a really huge supply of copper. I'm like, let's go there. And I found a few companies. We went over back and forth, try to find a good one. And both me and my friend were like really picky, because we were like, okay, we don't want to start on the first one. We want to find the right person. And we started from there. And so far, the response has been pretty positive. Like even on our Google reviews, like everybody's leaving us 5 stars. Same thing with our website. So I'm like, hey, this is pretty cool. So now people are asking us for longer versions and for TSR versions. So I'm actually amazed at the response, because I thought it'd be like a lot slower, because we launched like in April. But the response has been pretty cool, and the people have been really supportive. So I like that. So now I'm going back to other designs that I did years ago and see what else I can put out maybe in the next few months.
Just for anybody that hasn't been able to take a look at this yet, if you're driving along or something, the cable itself is very, very flat, which I think, your first encounter, Marko, you mentioned you saw one and it didn't fare well. So Tony and I were skeptical. Also, if you think about all of the typical, like a pancake connector or something like that, this is smaller than a dime around, and it's extremely short. So that's why I completely freaked out when I got these, because I said, you solved like 5 problems that I was having. And I'll get into that in a little bit with these cables. So they're rubberized, extremely well made, and super low profile. So I just wanted to give everybody a visual.
So are all the components made in Serbia, or is it like a standard cable that you were able to use, or how I was just kind of curious because I haven't seen flat cable like this, and the ends that you're using, of course, are something that are really different than seen before too.
Yeah. So there's like a lot of copper. So like we actually do sell like a lot of wires. Like so what we do, it was pretty much like the inside is like a basic cable, but what we did was this actually idea from the manufacturer in Serbia. He suggested to actually put like so after it's soldered or to the actual plug, there's actually like a molded foam inside, which actually gives it an extra layer of noise cancellation, and then it's molded. So it's actually two molds that you see on the cable.
All right, that makes sense because I kind of peeled back on one of the cables, the outer rubberized part, the round part that's on the back of the plug portion.
Jack.
And thank you, Jack. You don't know Jack. But I thought it was really cool because I did see that extra layer of insulation on the inside, and then all the soldering and everything that went to it. So basically, the cable was soldered to the end, and then that's put in some sort of mold, and that's how you get the I guess the strain relief and seal on it. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like Solid Gas is two things. It's actually to help with the shape and to keep it solid, but it's also used to help reduce any additional noise. Because I did try out some other flat patch cables, and what they are is just mold. And for those, I did hear a little bit of sound, so I was like, and then I brought up to a guy who was the main engineer for the company in Serbia, and he was saying, just like let's put like an extra layer of mold over there. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And it was a big difference, and this is why we decided to go with these guys, because in Serbia there's a lot of people actually graduate with engineering degrees there. So I was like, okay, these guys have really good ideas. They're not musicians. They are just saying, why don't you just do this because it makes sense, like from like a sound perspective. And I was like, okay, these guys can actually, give us some more ideas, and they actually are thinking. They're actually showing that they can give suggestions to us because we are pretty new. Like we can go from a musician's point of view, what we want to see, but they are more technical and they're very open to like helping out. So I was very happy with that.
Nice.
I will continue to rave about these. I didn't think I was going to get that excited about a patch cable. I really didn't, because we've talked about some of these things before, but pedal boards can get kind of complex. And one of the hardest things is if you have a cable that goes south, it is just an absolute utter nightmare. And most of the reasons that the cables go south is because they're being twisted too much, being stretched too far, or you also run into issues where, like on a pancake jack, it's like, well, if you're trying to cram a bunch of pedals on a board and then that metal's touching or it's constantly rubbing, it builds up, static and all kinds of other nasty business. So to see one that was like rubberized on both ends, now granted, I understand that there are sealed, plastic plugs and stuff like that, but not like this, not this low profile. When you get this, you hold it in your hand, like this is a super well-made product. You can tell just holding it in your hand. Jared, when I showed it to Jared, like he said, this is a really nice piece of equipment right here.
Yes, it is.
One reason why they're like really that small is because I actually wanted to see if they can be the same size as the washers on pedals, because like sometimes when you have like, let's say like you have like a stereo pedal that's like that's actually, you have like I forgot the name, like I'm really bad with names at the same time, but it like if you have like a stereo delay pedal, the like in and outputs are really close to each other. So like if you try to use like a pancake plug, it won't work because they're like they're too wide, and since they are low profile, people do get them. But if you try for something like that, you try to save space, those won't work. So This is why we try to make them as small as possible. And the actual idea was to be the same size as the like washer, just because then they should fit, because that's the limit that they can go.
Yeah.
And if you notice it, like where it turns, and it's because it's actually a circle, there's like a little ripple there. That's actually just for like better grip. That's why we put it there.
It's not like you can just grab it and tear it out. Like you have to work to get it out a little bit, which is, I think, helpful and important when you're traveling around with a board and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
One of the other big things that Tony and I were initially talking about is because we were looking at the sizings of these things, and it's like, you have a 3-inch plug. All right. Instantly, hopefully you guys are thinking, wait a minute. So I could go from a top mount jack to a top mount jack. Yes. How wonderful is that?
Yeah.
So another part about the top mount jack pedals is some of them, I certainly have a couple on my board and that I've played with that, to your point you were talking about before, have the footprint of what the actual jack is between the 9-volt connector and the in and out.
Yep.
Those things can get placed really, really close. So good luck getting 2 pancake jacks and a adapter in there.
That's exactly what I ran into the other day. Until I got this. I took the sample you gave me, and that's already on my board.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for
nice.
sure. I think one of the big elements there too is that, like you said, you have a S cable. So that's one cable is going, one jack is pointed up and one jack is pointed down. If you hold it hold it straight, which is that is extremely helpful if you have a top mount jack to a side mount jack.
Yep.
Genius. So you don't have to twist the cables, which leads to breaking.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Like we were trying to think of what are all the things that could go wrong, and let's see how much we can fix.
Yeah.
That was the whole point of the S shape. But it was also, I also thought of that when I first made the original design like 11 years ago, like for my friend. I was like, okay, well, if it's a circle, then it just would be like easier to like rotate it, because some are actually a rectangle shape, and it's a little difficult to mix and match it. But like a circle, I just always see that it works better. Like even like in geometry and in design, like when you're designing something, you usually try to draw circles to see like how things match up. So that's the idea behind that, like why it's a circle design and not actually a rectangle.
Right. Well, and those two reasons are one of the driving decisions to take something that is like, cut your own kind of length of cable, which those things are also like really great too. I'm not knocking those at all. But one of the great things about those is that you have an extremely small jack to deal with, which is great because you can get more pedals on, and it's easier to navigate around within the wiring. You also have some longer cables, which is great too, because guess what you have to do if you're following a chain on a pedal board that has side mounted jacks built into it. You have to do an S, like a zigzag, right? Mm-hmm. So
exactly,
you have to make your way over to the other side of the board once you hit the far left. So, and it sounds like you may be even making some longer cables.
Yeah. Like we've actually been asked for like longer versions. So right now we are looking at which ones would make the most sense. Our biggest debate now is to make a 24 or a 23 inch, and the reason why the reason why we're actually on these two numbers is because one guy is like a fan of Kobe Bryant, and I'm a Michael Jordan fan, so like we're actually going back and forth. That's the only thing that we're going back, and like we just can't decide between those two, and we're like, it's like an inch difference. So like we're actually going back, and we'll see like who wins.
Interesting.
So if you're a Michael Jordan fan, I'm going to guess that you do like the shoes?
I actually own a few stocks in Nike, so I'm going to say yes.
Oh, wow.
Jared's a sneaker fiend.
Yeah,
Nice.
I can't get enough. So,
well, these are available right now. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you can go and by the way, people, these are not by any stretch of the imagination outrageously priced. These are very, very affordable. Again, that kind of goes into like what we're thinking. Like when we get approached with stuff, that's a consideration. It's like we want to make sure that we're sharing something that we would go buy. And I mean,
I already did
outstanding things. Yeah. So you can. Are you only selling out of TourGearDesigns.com?
We have that. We have a page up on Reverb.com. Right now, we are actually trying to find a U.S. distributor because we are getting a lot of orders in the U.S. But a lot of guys are asking us to come back to them later because we're still pretty small. So they want to see how we do, pretty much on our own, and then they'll see about taking us on. We have also looked at just selling through to sell on the Amazon platform. But the only thing about that is, now that would work for the US. My only thing is I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So like what I do is all the cables, they're actually not pre-packed. For every single order that we get, what we do, either I or another person that works with us will actually sit down, use any one of the 3 different cable testers that we have, and actually test each cable to make sure that it's working well, and then it goes into packaging. But before that, we actually sign it along with the date, so to give it more of a personal feel. And for that reason, we're kind of iffy on if we will sell on Amazon, because it'll be much harder to fulfill those orders if like the guys in the fulfillment center just like grab them from the shelf and just put them away.
Right.
So we kind of still want to have the personal touch. So if we do find a distributor, they would need to continue the same thing that we're doing here, because we don't want that to go off track. Yeah, like that's a little thing that I stole from Starbucks, just because they sign people's names in on their cups, and I was like, okay, well, why do we sign our names like when they get their cables, so they know that an actual person actually looked at them and tested them? Because sometimes you get cables and there's it's just there, but you come home and they're like not working. You're like, okay, did they actually test them, or they just grab them and just put them in the packaging? Right. When it's actually signed, it shows a little bit more care. So that's what we want to do, and so we need to find the right people to work with as we're going to hopefully grow.
That's fantastic. Well, everybody, make sure you check. Number 1, that you check these things out online, and number 2, just get one. I swear, if you get one, I would be hard pressed to believe that you wouldn't basically just go for it and do your board out.
I ordered a large amount the other day. I got on the website and I actually ordered a bunch, and I cannot wait to get them.
Nice.
That's how good they are.
Yeah, I think Dan was one who was putting your order together.
Oh, awesome!
Nice.
I can't wait. Those are a really great product, and I'm going to tell everybody that I talk to about this kind of stuff, especially the listeners right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Need to get them.
All right, Marko, thank you so much for number 1, being a really nice dude, and number 2, making an awesome product. Just when you think you can't find a better something better comes along, and I'm really thrilled about this. So thank you for making that.
Awesome.
Gentlemen, we're going to move on over to Jared's side of the fence here. Jared, what do you got for us?
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time now for Would You Rather?
Nice. Oh.
Thank you. Nice little extended version. This Would You Rather is from our listener, Daniel Brokenborough from Australia, mate. Right? So you're in a 4-piece band. You got 2 guitars, drums, and a bass player. And that's pretty standard. While loading in, some drunk idiot tips over the bass player's Ampeg, and it's an 8x10 fridge. I mean, it's a giant mammoth amp, right?
Oof.
And it crushes the fretting hand of your bass player. So your bass player's out, right?
Oh God.
Okay.
You can't cancel the gig because the bass player doesn't have health insurance. So all the gig money will be spent on treating the injured hand. The opening band has a synth with some cool bass sounds, and the bass player insists that he could do the gig on that synth with his good hand. So here's the would you rather part. Do you let the bass player do some probably awkward synth bass, or does one of the guitarists switch to a bass, thus eliminating all the sweet dual guitar interplay of your songs?
Oh,
that's a really good one. That's a good one. That's I mean, it was kind of crazy getting there, but awesome. Would you rather, man?
Indeed. Thank you so much for submitting that.
Yep.
All right, Tony. We're gonna go. Tony, Jared, and Marko, and then myself. All right, go for it, Tony.
Wow. Well, I mean, there are some guitar players that can actually play bass or pick out various things, but I've never heard a true guitar player be able to play a bass like a bass player. And then when I think of the whole disgusting synth bass sound, although, I mean, when you think about like the Doors and things like that, I mean, Ray Manzarek played all the bass lines. I don't know. You don't like the Doors, do you?
Nobody cares if you don't like the Doors. They're awesome.
You got him. You got him. You're poking the bear, aren't you?
Oh my gosh. You didn't even wait for me to respond.
I knew that crackly voice sound. I knew what that meant. That was a paragraph of hate.
Oh my gosh.
Fat dead guy in a bathtub. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that was worth the price of admission.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Well, I guess the lesser of two evils would be to have one of the guitar players play bass. And plus, you can always kick the bass player to the curb.
Yes.
Split the money 3 ways instead of 4. That's what I say.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, Jared, what are you doing?
This is kind of tough because I mean, if you were going to be more specific, you would say the bass player has never played synth before, or the bass player is not a keyboard player, or, something like that. But if you don't know, and for sure, then I don't think I would trust him on the keyboard, and I would just say, hey, you got to go, And I played in a band where I'm the only guitar player, so there's ways to get around that.
Yeah. Marko?
This is a good question because I am a bass player, and there was actually a time when this happened to my guitar player in one of my bands.
Oh no!
Yeah, and it's interesting because now you can think, and are you guys on tour or just a show? Because if it's just a show, I would pretty much do what Tony said. But if you're, but otherwise, depending on the type of music you play, probably a synth bass would sound like really bad. And if you have actual dueling guitar, are they actually very simple? Are they easy lines? Because then the bass player can help out with that. But if they're like Dragon Force style, no way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it would depend on the band as well. Like you need like how hard are the parts, but I would definitely not do a synth bass. That's just no. No.
Well, for the sake of argument, we'll say it's a Doors cover band.
Oh no, you cannot do that. That is not a thing. That is not a thing. Yeah. All right.
There's a Doors cover band, then we can get away with the like one-arm bass player playing keyboards.
Anyways,
What are you doing, Todd?
Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I am going to say no to the synth bass, and what I would do is take one of the guitar players and basically just kind of go for the bass and lower mids on the guitar. So kind of helping out on that end, so that
Like a baritone guitar?
No, just kind of boosting the bass and lower mid EQ. And
now, see, that kind of surprises. So, Todd, see, what I suspected you would do is have the second guitar player go buy a $300 octave pedal so he could play guitar an octave lower.
You can borrow my mute.
Actually, I was just thinking that.
No, I think I would just go for because sometimes just hearing the fuller sound is what you're often hearing, especially in a smaller venue. It's like you're not necessarily hearing articulated bass. You're just hearing a fuller sound. Not all the time, but certainly sometimes I've been in that situation and that's where I mean, if you think about where a lot of guitar players who are starting out get into trouble is that, we talk about this all the time. When you play at home, especially if you've got like a fuzz pedal or something, your sound, it sounds killer because you have so much low end and it's filling out the whole spectrum. But when you get on stage and you're going to get lost because all that cool stuff, you're like, oh man, I can feel it and it feels heavy. Well, that's out the window because you got a bass player who's stealing on all your tone to begin with. So you could really compensate and just say, hey, other guitar player, why don't you round out the bottom end of things, tweedle your little EQ a bit and there, away you go. There, I fixed it. All right. Well, that was a pretty good one. Anytime where we have two absolute negatives, it's always great.
Yes, indeed.
There you go.
All right. Marko, we're going to go through, we got to say a thanks to a couple of people here, and then we're going to wrap up and help people find you in the world. Okay. So, Tony Baloney, why don't you give us some thanks?
Special thanks. Oh, yes. This point of the show, we like to thank a special group of people.
I can't wait.
We call them our executive producers. And what they do is they help bring this show, help make it possible so that all of our fans can listen and enjoy and relish in the guitar knobs.
Keep going.
Now how the executive, you might be asking, how can I become an executive producer? Because I love this show and I want to help support it. I want you to go over to patreon.com/the guitar knobs. And you'll find a couple of different levels in which you can participate. Each level has its own special gift swag bag, if you will. And that's including things like barefoot buttons and keychains and picks and stickers and all kinds of things. T-shirts. Oh, did I say giveaways? Yeah, giveaways too.
Pedals.
And, well, you never know. There's all kinds of giveaways. But one thing that happens when you become an executive producer, in addition to all that great stuff, is what happens, Jared?
You get to have your name read on the thing.
Your name read on the thing.
That's right.
Trademark Jared Brandon.
Thank you.
Don't even think about using it.
That's right.
So I'm going to thank some people right now. Special thanks to Richard Kendall, Steve Keys, James Pennington, Leah Martin, Matt Hart, James White, Britt Alexander, Justin Jones, Doug Gann, Tim Nowak, John Estele, Chris Heidel, Brad Partridge, Tyler Bray, John Anglin, Anthony Lathrop, Johnny Knowles, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Brian Robison, Ken Sayers, Michael Van Zant, Doug Christ, Darren Gregory, Chris Carney, John Daly, Martin Cliff, and Tom Barazin.
Woohoo!
All right.
But wait, Todd.
Okay.
Wait.
All right.
Wait.
All right.
Wait a cotton picking moment there. We
No.
want to. Okay. We want to thank a special group, even slightly special, more special than our executive producers. These are our fez-wearing brethren. We call them our grand poobahs. And they're just a notch above, if you will. And they are required when they listen to the podcast to wear their fezzes, which are provided as a special gift. And we have a new one this week. Holy moly. Let's welcome aboard and a tip of the fez to our good friend Adam Johnson.
All right.
Welcome, my friend.
Welcome on board.
Now, he was
Go
an
ahead.
executive producer.
Oh, and he's climbed the ladder slightly.
Yep.
He's up to the next level. Very good. Well, thank you for being an executive producer initially and now a grand poobah. And my friend, you are in very good company because we also have Christopher Marshall, Mark Garton, Tommy Manasco, Sean S. Cody Foster, Cody Lane, David Kaminga, Corey Nigro, and Jonathan Jerusik.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Fantastic.
I love it.
And
I love
we need to say just a real huge shout out to Cody Lane because he was kind enough to provide us some awesome patches that we sent out to all of our patrons, and hopefully they all got them. They should be getting them if they haven't already. But yeah, that was a really great gesture, and we really truly appreciate it. All right, Marko from TourGear Designs, thank you so much for being on our show. It was a pleasure having you and your awesome product.
Oh, thank you. It was great to be here as well. It was my first ever podcast, so I'm pretty sure I messed up badly. So it's great to get it out of the way.
Not at all. It was you did a great job, but this is going to be a great one. I think people are going to really enjoy it. Now, where can people find your patch cables?
So we sell mainly from our website of TourGearDesigns.com. Even on Instagram, you can just click on one of our photos, like it, and then you can actually take you directly to our shop because all our products are linked to the pictures. Even on Facebook, we have a shop over there as well. So we try to be everywhere. We try to be in your face as much as possible without getting too annoying.
Awesome. Now, people, if you do, and when you do, hopefully, go get one of these. Let them know that you like it, all right? Send them a little note and say, hey, this is an outstanding product and I like it, or whatever. Or, hey, if you got a complaint, let them know too so it can help make it better, okay?
Of course, yeah. We always want to hear feedback from people.
Killer. Fantastic. All right. Tony Baloney, where can people find you?
You can find my wares at pickguardian.com. Take a peek in there. There's some things you can order straight off the website, but there's a lot more stuff that I do that's and my specialty is custom stuff.
Yep.
So if you just shoot me an email, let me know what you need. I will put pricing together for you before we do anything. We'll just make it right and make it perfect for you. If you want to check out some of the projects that we talk about from time to time, go to my Instagram account at pickguardian and the number 1.
That's right.
Awesome. Loads of awesome materials too. Very cool things that you can put on your guitar to make it look very personalized and fantastic.
All shapes and all sizes.
That's correct. Jared, how about you, buddy?
Yes, if you guys want some pickups, some really good stuff, you need some rewounds done, let me know what you have in mind. I can pretty much do it. Like right now, I'm working on a guy sent me some tattoo coil parts, and I'm making him some bass pickups out of that.
Wow.
So just whatever you got, let me know, and we'll put something together for you. Just like Tony, we'll get you a price and fix you right up.
Nice.
Cool.
Jared at brandonpickups.com.
All right. You can shoot me a note, Todd at theguitarknobs.com, or DM me on Instagram and we will get you all sorted out. It would be great to hear what you're up to. If you got a would you rather, that'd be cool. Send that to us. And just generally say hi and stuff. We're going to thank Marko for joining us. All right, everybody, have a great guitar weekend. Subscribe!
Yeah.
How's that? Is that better?
Oh my gosh, it's so much better.
Wow, you sound like not like Superman lady anymore.
Yeah.
Are you sure I don't sound the same? I sound the same, you liars. Hey, give me like 5 minutes, would you?
What? You might end up having to... Oh my gosh.
Hey, you're the lady from Superman.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the robot lady?
The robot lady.
No, not that one. The other one.
Oh, the other one.
There's only one robot lady. She's like,
Oh, you mean... Oh, you mean the...
what's happening to me? Let's just get this thing going.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.